Hi, I'm Elaine, and as you can see, I'm a little bit of an agent provocateur. I'm from Tuniat. Tuniat, Malaysia is its setup, but Tuniat, Myanmar has been in operations for about 10 years. It is largely funded by UNOPS, UNOPS, and Tuniat, Malaysia, myself and my partner, we've been working on with UNDP. But today, I am going to take you through, beyond the press release, authentic storytelling and the power of media in driving social change, but structurally. And what do I mean by that? So I've spent 30 years in marketing strategy and business development, mostly for GLCs around the world, from US, UAE, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Iskandar. And one thing I've noticed is that there is a friction tax. And what we need is precise intervention. And that's my version of being radically kind and making changes structurally to drive change. So I'm not generally known for being very nice. I'm more known for being brutally honest. So why am I speaking on the kindness movement? Because brutal honesty, if it comes with a strategy, with a plan, is actually radical kindness. Yeah? You are dealing with the bone of the issue, not just masking the pain. Radical kindness isn't about being nice. It is not just about being soft, fluffy sentiments. It is about being precise. It is the decision to tackle the core of the problem. So every company today has a hidden tax. That's the friction tax I talk about. It is the cost of low trust. It is the cost of high-speed masking. We know probably 30, 40, maybe 50% of our people are spending the day pretending to be okay, pretending to work, rather than actually giving you productive output. And it is the cost of AI speed workflows on industrial age human infrastructure. So what do I mean about authentic storytelling? We know all about the media pyramid, the hero, the narrative, your press release, the hub, your internal culture, the town halls, how you conduct your meetings, and the help, which is the infrastructure, and that's your SOPs. A lot of us, can I go back? So a lot of us have very big hero narratives, lovely press releases, lovely marketing campaigns, but the infrastructure, the supporting structure for your people is actually not there. And that doesn't give you a very good structure. It is a pyramid inverted. So what we want is actually most of the work in the infrastructure level, the structural level. So I've got two case studies for you, two big giants that everyone will be able to relate to. We have Microsoft. Why do I mention Microsoft? It's big already, it's famous, it's doing well. Because in the 2010s, Microsoft was a stagnant giant. For about a decade, its valuation was at 250 to 300 billion, but it was still stagnating, it didn't move. The world was moving on to mobile, while Microsoft had internal sabotage, stack ranking, zero collaboration. Then Satya Nadella came in 2014, and he literally took Microsoft to the clouds. And how did he do that? Not with a PR campaign, not with rebranding. He did structural, surgical intervention. So here's a quote from him. At Microsoft, we are committed to hiring people with disabilities. It's not just a social cause, it's a business imperative. We're passionate about this because it helps us build better products. So he built a ramp. He identified new talent, new interview processes, new sensory sensitive workspaces. He had internal hackathons. Many of the internal hackathons produced products which went on to commercialize and be profitable. Anyway, 140% productivity increase, and in 2024, Microsoft is at 3.1 trillion. So he used, Satya Nadella used DEI as strategic asset acquisition. So a little bit about Gamuda, closer to home. This is a near and dear example, a Malaysian example we can all be proud of. Gamuda built the smart tunnel in 2007. But when they built the MRT Putrajaya line, they were having problems. They had a bottleneck with their BIM, Building Information Modeling System. They couldn't find enough people to do it, to hire. So what they discovered was that neurodivergent people are 10 times faster at identifying clashes in these systems. 10 times faster. So what they do, they built the Enabling Academy. They changed the interviewing, onboarding processes. They taught the new hires, the neurodivergent hires, how to handle the social friction that's often a problem for neurodivergent people. And through that, by 2024, Gamuda is a global leader with awards in digital engineering. And they didn't win global contracts from being nice. They won global contracts because they built the infrastructure to support a workforce that was 10 times more accurate than their competitors. And here's a quote from Datuk Lin. Our neurodivergent colleagues have proven to be highly productive and capable in specialized roles. Now, Datuk Lin is an engineer himself, not known to be soft and fluffy, and no-nonsense kind of guy, so it's high praise. So this is how you turn a social cause into a competitive moat. Kindness was not the cost, it was the advantage. Okay, so if kindness is a cost, you're reading the wrong ledger. And what do I mean by that? I'll just give you a couple of examples. So you have a problem. Your problem is you have a factory, a data center with loads of staff, and you have, say, a 40% employee turnover. Typical CSR, the hero narrative, family days, appreciation plaques, employee of the month, you know, kind and fluffy things. But what would we do if we were trying to build the health ramp, change the infrastructure? We would be investing in on-site childcare, education, subsidized transportation hubs, you know, things that really matter, structural things that help your workforce. I'll give you another example. The problem, let's say a digital platform, a bank, with jargon-heavy, interface for the elderly or the digital, shall we say, less able. Your typical CSR, financial literary month, free webinars, communal digital education, these sort of programs would be your typical CSR sustainability response. A structural change would be actually investing in recoding the entire platform for ease to appeal to your market. You're actually expanding your market. You're not doing your customers a favor. You're expanding your market. So what we can see is a typical CSR hero narrative. If you're not authentic, if you're not looking at your SOPs, if you're not telling the authentic story, it's cosmetic. But if you really invest in radical kindness, it is structural, right? And last but not least, we all know about the banks and the sustainability-linked loans that are available nowadays. Maybank has its CIMB, RHB, and a 0.5% interest rate step down is no joke if you have a 100 million facility or, it's quite a lot of money. Maybank, I think, even has a LCTF, low carbon transition facility for loans up to just 10 million. So these are huge advantages that if you treat kindness as something that can increase your revenue, you can implement. So I'm just going to leave you with my last slide, which is the CEO litmus test. Is your kindness structurally sound? So what do I mean by that? Well, let's say you look at all your kindness initiatives, your CSR programs, your sustainability awards or contributions or donations, right? And you as a CEO, you have a 20% budget cut. Will your initiatives survive this cut? I have a friend, he works for a major MNC, local MNC, and he's been telling me that he's had 3 budget cuts. He's in the marketing department this year alone because of the crisis in the Middle East. 3 budget cuts on his ad spend. So here's your litmus test. If it is cosmetic kindness, if it is a literacy month, family day, posters, appreciation plaques, it will be cut, right? It will not survive the cut because it doesn't hold any weight. It's not load bearing. But if your kindness is radical and it's about interview redesign, interface redesign, SOP redesign, sensory friendly workspaces, transportation, childcare, then it is structural and it will survive the budget cut. Malaysia's next phase of competitiveness will not come from small improvements, incremental efficiencies. It will not come from small improvements. We're in the age of AI speed workflows. Our competitiveness will come from structural kindness, radical kindness, the kind that unlocks human velocity. So I encourage all of you to pick up the scalpel of radical kindness and build the ramp. Thank you.
Talk radical kindness is here on stage, as we would like to now invite Chief quickly up on stage.
You have a question?
Oh, you have a question?
Can I ask a question, Elaine? Before I do that, can I ask you a question? It might not be fair to you, but I thought it is something that all of us must think about. We're talking about corruption as a problem. And everybody will agree that corruption is a problem. What sort of radical kindness would you advocate?
For corruption. Well, radical kindness for corruption, I can't say I work at that level. It's way above my pay grade. But I'm a big fan of our recent Nobel Economic Laureates. And they have, for the last 2 years, they have basically said that we can talk about, what is the word? Inclusive or extractive infrastructure institutions, but the main thing why nations fail is because of corruption. So it has to go. It just has to go according to the best economic minds.
Solution?
Solution, as I said, it's above my pay grade, but transparency, being able to, that was one of the things Satya Nadella did, which was not just change the interview processes, hire new people, but he encouraged people to be able to talk, right? No relationship is going to be frictionless, especially if you want to work problems out. There will always be friction. And it's the strength of a relationship when it can work through difficult problems, whether at work or at home.
I would have another question. Is it okay?
Of course.
My question is on agility. Right now, organizations, they need to be agile. Now with the word regenerative, we have to be more innovative to regenerate from all the resources. While the corporate world always budget based on new resources. And this is where being kindness in the structure that you have, how do you address that agility and regenerative to embed it as a values of kindness so that corporate adopt this leadership, this new type of leadership, not the traditional, authentic, autocratic kind of leadership? How would you address agility?
Well, agility is really, in corporate terms, the ability to pivot. And pivoting is, the larger the company you are, the more difficult it is to pivot, as anything. You consume a large space. So pivoting is difficult, right? But pivoting basically means that people have the opportunity and the ability to see things from different perspectives. So we're actually not talking about physical agility, we're talking about mental agility, right? So in many ways, I think it is about educating people, training people to be able to communicate, to be confident in communicating, and be able to discuss ideas, bring ideas to the table, no matter how strange they might seem in their work environment.
One more question.
More questions from the floor? If there are any more questions, then yes.
Thank you for those questions.
Thank you.